The following podcast contains adult language and themes, so don't say we didn't fucking warn you.
You're listening to SarahTalk. It's political.
If you really give a fuck about the life of the unborn, you'd better be prepared to help fund WIC and food stamps and welfare, because you don't get to say, I care about that life until it's born, and then turn around and say, well, you shouldn't have had sex if you couldn't care for this child. You should have gotten a better education. You need to work harder. Maybe you should take a second job. It's not my responsibility.
Critical.
When was the last time a Christian was allowed to have a separate place to say their prayers? Look, you can literally bow your head at your fucking desk. You're like, why did he get the thing and I didn't get the thing? You didn't ask for the thing!
And positively LGBT positive.
Look, whenever there's someone coming after my community, they are either wearing a MAGA hat, carrying a Bible, or more often both.
Oh, and occasionally completely absurd.
What the hell is in Idaho?
Potatoes.
Anyway? You could take a drill a
Drill up a
hole
hole in a
in a
potato
potato and fuck
you'd
a
be
potato.
fine.
Would you marry a potato though? Could that be okay?
No, but you wouldn't have to marry a potato because a potato doesn't need consent for you to fuck it.
And now, from Haines City, Florida, your host, Sarah Austin.
Hey everybody, welcome to SarahTalk again. I feel like we just did this.
Right, for the second time.
So I think what I'll do is I'll take the bullshit in the beginning where we were just kind of chatting, and maybe I'll release that to the patrons or something. Just stuff that's going on in my life and in my brain. We talked about that for a little bit. But now we have Izzi Starz in the house.
Yay!
You're going to want real close to that microphone.
Really close.
Really close.
Thank you for having me.
So, yeah, thanks for driving all the way up here. I know that we're out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and
It was interesting.
and you thought you were gonna get pulled over.
I was followed by the cops for a while, and I was like, why are they following us for so long? And Gene was like, I think they're checking our registration. I was like, oh, Lord, we're going to get pulled over. So, but for some reason, we didn't. It was just like I felt presidential status for a minute after. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know what's going on.
That's awesome. So we used to call this thing New Music Monday, and I guess we can't call that because it's not Monday, although we didn't do New Music Monday on Monday either.
Right.
The episode releases to the public feed on iTunes and Google Play and all of the apps on Monday. So that's why I called it New Music Monday. But I'm thinking we call this one Fat Tracks Friday, maybe something
Friday.
different.
Ooh,
Mix
that's
it
cool.
up.
Yeah, I like that.
So anyway, strap in, lots of twists and turns here, and so let's start with let's get some of your music going so that people have an idea what your sound is like before we sort of dig into the story of who is Izzi Starz.
The many faces and transitions of Izzi Starz.
Yes.
Can I give a shout out real quick?
Yeah, please.
I want to give a shout out to my sis, Alyssa. She is out there tuning
Yes,
in.
we love
Thank you
Alyssa.
so much for getting me this opportunity to be on this show. She is fabulous. She's been supporting. She's been a great supporter since I came to Florida for 6 years. She is, oh my gosh, she's amazing. I love her to death.
Yeah, she drove all the way out here too.
I
To
know.
hang with us, and that was great.
I'm surprised she didn't tell me how long the ride was. Love you, Liz.
Well, hopefully it'll all at the end of the thing. It'll all be worth it. Dan says, "Ooh, I love Izzy's jacket. So suave."
Thank you. I
And
appreciate it.
David says, "Great jacket as well."
Thank
yes,
you. I appreciate it.
absolutely.
Don't make me blush.
So set up this first track here. We're gonna listen to "Caught Up."
Yes, that's actually my. You know what? Everyone looks at me weird when I say this, but that's my favorite song on the EP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love this
So
song.
this is all music that's new, right, in your latest release?
Yes, I just released an EP called Misunderestimated, and I don't know, I just felt I was going through something. I was going through, I want to call it a depression, but it was personal. I didn't want to have it over social media. I didn't want to have it with my family, so I literally locked myself in the studio. I asked Gene, I locked myself in the studio for 3 months. I didn't shave. I didn't, nothing. And I just wrote my feelings, but I didn't want it to be like ranty like I usually do. I wanted to be my feelings for real. So
yeah.
And I was stuck on the 80s. You know, I'm an older artist, and sometimes it's hard to keep up with this new wordplay and things like that. And I have a lot of responsibilities. My brain is hurting. So I want to do something soft, you know, and something different this time and showcase my voice. But this song was a rendition to Jocelyn Brown. She was an old 70s disco era artist. And I just love that song, and I wanted to do it.
And you did.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's give it a listen. This is Caught Up. Maybe. Caught Up, Izzi Starz. Mix 94.5. Just kidding. Throws me back to my radio days. That's why I enjoy doing this stuff. I mean, obviously, music has been a part of my life. I have a stack of guitars in the corner that I
see.
Never have time to play. Once upon a time, I did record some stuff, you know, just dicking around, and I miss that too. In a lot of the ways that I miss the old radio days, I miss having the time to play around on.
Well, we might have to have you play some on SarahTalk, you know.
Because,
you know, we are fans.
We'll see about that. One year I offered I was working on that was going to be a big project called Christmas with Friends that I was going to have like a friend come and do a collaboration with me and do a Christmas song. And then at the end, we were going to do Happy Christmas, War is Over. And each one of those people that did a song with me would all do the chorus bit. And we got a couple of those done, and it just didn't pan out. But that was I offered those up to our patrons last year for Christmas.
I wish I was invited.
So
I missed it.
well, it never came to fruition. So there's always a chance.
I hope I'm invited. I have my Christmas song ready.
Awesome. What's your Christmas song? What's your go-to Christmas song?
My go-to. Well, actually, I have a song that I released with Elizabeth Marie Ninja. She's a trans activist out of New York City, and it's called Christmas with You, and it's actually out on Spotify and all digital distribution platforms. I released it last Christmas. It's an awesome song, original.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, very nice.
So we were talking about. I'm completely off track with the with the music and right. What you all couldn't hear during the song, we were talking about the Star Wars coasters that we have here in the studio.
Yes,
and
I love these.
These are the Star Trek coasters that we had. We were using them for a drinking game for a while.
These are so cool.
But they light up like the transporter pad, and then
we have definitely got to start shopping together.
Oh, the batteries are dead. Damn it, it makes the transporter noise. Anyway.
There goes the royalty checks.
So anyway, so we're sort of talking about some of your musical influences here. Let's go back in time into your story. So I read some of your bio, and you talk about, born and raised in New York City. Mm-hmm. You ultimately found your way down here, and found and are experiencing considerable success. But that road wasn't easy, and that path is sort of what I want to kind of dig into. So, I mean, you talk about growing up in an abusive home, joining a gang, sex work, homelessness. This is a story of beating all the odds, and that I think there is so much to take from that I want people to get. So maybe let's go back to the beginning then. Talk about growing up in New York City.
Growing up in New York City, for me in the beginning was, when you're a child, you don't really know much, but you know that you're happy. And after a while, you start growing up, and I learned, that New York City was really rough. It was really tough. A lot of businesses, low-end families and poverty everywhere. Back then, drugs were, you open your door and they were like right in front of your door. Like It wasn't like now where, you find areas. And
full disclosure, like, this is fascinating to me because, and there are some other things that come up along the way that I'm going to want to clarify for the people like me. I grew up in a town of 1,400 people in the middle of cornfields. Very small town. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business. Rural Midwest America, which is very different from the city life.
Right. Which that's hard too, because you can't do anything. No. It's like you can't break any eggshells at all.
We used to say
not even on
you
Easter.
You got in trouble at school, and they could still whip you back then. They had paddles. You get in trouble at school, and by the time you got home,
the whole neighborhood knew.
Everybody knew. Yeah.
I had my share of country experiences. I used to go to the Fresh Air Fund and I had some families that fell in love with me. They asked for me every summer, and I used to go to summertime, sometimes to camp and stuff, and I learned a lot, They told me a lot of stuff. I heard a lot of stuff. I experienced a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But New York, it was just really difficult. It's challenging. It's too much going on. It's too much people, too much competition. Everyone is a barricade. Everyone's got talent. Everyone's doing something. It's just so bussy, It's really hard to make a decision on who you want to be or what you want to be when you grow up in New York City. You see a lot of things and you're influenced by a lot of stuff, but there's not much opportunities back then in New York City like it is today. And, it was really hard being, a flamboyant little boy. Mm-hmm. You had to hide because, I literally went outside and I've seen homosexuals or gay people, whatever you want to call them, us. I've seen us get attacked and beat and jumped and like the whole neighborhood just come. Like you said, the whole neighborhood would, like, if you did something in New York City and you came out and you were spooked or something, like, your whole neighborhood would come out with a broomstick or something and start beating you for your grandmother because you embarrassed your girl. It was really hard, and you had to grow up, like, in disguise all the time. It's like being transgender without being transgender, For me, I felt like I had to go through, like, 2 cycles of transgender life. It was like I had to, like, be a boy. Like, now I have to be a boy, and I experienced that and I learned that and I mastered that because my uncles and my family were, just like me. They didn't know any better, and they were hard, Dominican, Trinidad, Puerto Rican Dominicans, and they don't know no better. They just go by what everybody hears. So you have to be macho for them. If not, you was going to get your butt whooped, you was going to get your ass kicked.
Yeah.
And they were the male figures of the family, and they were heavily into the New York City life. So it's like you can't disrespect your elders or whatever. It's really hard. Then when you come out, you have to shed that off and then put on a whole nother get up, and then you have to transform into who you really want to blossom and be into. It's really hard, And the time that I was experiencing that, we didn't have any rights. People didn't even know what the word transgender was.
Yep.
Nobody even used the word transgender back then. We were considered as a disease. I felt uncomfortable everywhere that I went. I was so uncomfortable with stuff. I was scared to talk to people, strangers. I didn't want them to hear my voice or the pitch of my voice, or I would pay attention. I would literally stand in front of the TV and I would watch how straight men would move and act, and I would go home and I would imitate it.
Yeah.
Like if I had to, and it just wasn't right for me. It was a little disturbing, but
It's amazing how much that sort of machismo, patriarchy bullshit just has seeped its way into all of our society, and that's one of those things that, I mean, I'm relating because, and it doesn't matter where you are, like growing up in the country, and my family was not so much to this degree, but you have a lot of that sort of redneck, well, ain't no son of mine gonna be, sissy boy, bullshit like that,
Well,
so
my dad is a Latino cop.
Oh, shit.
For the first precinct of New York City at Delancey Street. And it's like right across the street from my house. And I was like, oh, God, I'm on house arrest for life. I'm not able to do anything. I had to literally sneak out and do things. When I started going to junior high school, we moved to Brooklyn. And, my family was trying to get it together. My family was going through a divorce at that time, my stepdad and my mom. And it was really hectic. There was a lot of violence and fighting every day. There's a lot of negativity going on, and school and hanging out was like the place for me to escape. And you never really felt safe out in the public, so we would go to the Village. We'll go to Christopher Street. We'll go to to the piers and hang out with other people like us and stuff. And that's where you pick up on the lifestyle.
Yep.
I remember one day I was hanging out, and my father's friend was driving, and he saw me hanging out, and I was carrying on Christopher Street, and he stops and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell your father." I was so scared to go. I was like, "Oh my God, my father's gonna choke me. He's gonna hang me, throw me off the roof. I'm gonna be dead. They're gonna bury me. They're not gonna find me, and he's gonna be scot free because he's a cop, And it just was really hard, I had to always hide from everybody. I actually ran away from home when I was 15. I was a stubborn kid. I didn't want to listen to anybody because I felt at that time there was a lot of struggling going on with everybody in my family that I couldn't get the right support that I needed from them. By the time I was in high school, I was already homeless. I was even afraid to tell my friends that I was homeless. So I would do crazy things to get money and mop and steal and work 14th Street and 10th Street and all, prostitute hustle and all that. And then I would come to school with the fabulous outfits like this. And I would lie and be like, oh, my life is amazing. We're fabulous. I come from a rich lifestyle. Because my school was so crucial. I went to Talent Unlimited High School in New York City. And everyone's a star in that school. Okay. Literally everyone's going to be somebody. And at the end of the day, it's still a competition. You still have to do your education and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, who's the top bitch? You understand?
Yep.
And I never had anything. And I got tired of seeing people have everything. And I was just feeling sorry for myself. So I decided I was going to take care of myself and spoil myself and treat myself. So I did. And I became a fabulous diva by high school. I started changing everything about my life. And I developed Izzi Starz.
Yeah.
And that's where Izzi Starz came from.
So during all of that time, too, you got involved with a gang.
Well, okay, here's how it happened, right? So I had this friend in high school. His name was Victor, and he was my bestie. He was a nieta. And I was like, what the hell is a nieta? And he was like, oh, this is gang and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, whatever. So then, like, I started hearing, like, everybody, next thing you know, everybody in school was like, I'm a nieta, and everybody's doing all these gang signs and stuff. So in high school, I was athletic. I was a tomboy. I still am a tomboy. When I was transgender, I was a tomboy. I was the sexy tomboy, though, you know? And, you know, I like playing basketball and jumping around, but I like doing it as a female. I didn't like doing it as a boy. So, you know, that's just the way I felt comfortable around other guys at that time. I was exploring my sexuality. You know, I was trying to have some trade.
Yep.
So I was trying to learn to get up, you know, and, you know, I explored with it. But okay, so
and we talked before the show. Only go where you're comfortable going.
It's okay.
No pressure.
It's okay. So what happened is I became like a wannabe nieta in high school, and I didn't know anything about it. But I went to meetings. They made me sign papers and learn all these codes and rules and regulations and all this stuff. And then, like after a while, I just was like, what? What am I doing? Like, what is this? So I started hanging out back with the gay scene, and I got locked up. I went to jail for prostitution.
Don't even get me started on that right now.
And then I had to really become a gang member in jail because a riot literally started in Rikers Island. Rikers Island was crazy. It's dangerous in there. But if you're not a bussy, loud, annoying type of person that could deal with that kind of stuff, you're not going to survive it. I barely made it out of there.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. With a bag of cookies. That's how I got out of there alive, because I had a bag of cookies. Saved by the cookies.
Saved by the cookies. I did actually make a note here about prostitution, and I want to talk about sex work. We are a sex-positive sort of show, and our position here is that prostitution should be decriminalized and create regulations to make it safer for people, and we've seen other countries do this.
I believe all these laws and rules and regulations on sex work is invasion of privacy. If a police officer or anyone is not allowed to touch your private areas when they search you, they shouldn't be allowed to judge what you want to do with your body.
Yep.
Next, what's going to be next? We're going to pay taxes to sell ourselves.
Right.
Oh, we got to pay the websites now.
Yes,
I forgot
right.
about that.
Yeah.
No, we have to pay websites, and then we still have to pay the government to do stuff we want to do.
Well, this is one of the things that Switzerland has done, and there are mostly your Western European countries, but in Switzerland specifically, I know they have taken like taxpayer money and created drive-ins, and these locations have security on site, and the sex workers negotiate their own rates, and like all of it is still autonomous. You still have control over your business, but they do pay taxes, but those taxes go back into the upkeep and maintenance of the safe place for people to go who are looking for sex and
high price pussy.
And I just, you hear so much of, and you know what happened once they did that? All the problems that we see, STD rates, sex trafficking, since they decriminalized sex work in the 1940s, all of that stuff dropped. All of that stuff became so much less of a problem. Because, and I think, especially here in America, we are so fucking uptight and puritanical about sex that we have to, we can't even have the talk with our kids because it's so awkward and it's sex, and it's like, but if we had actual conversations with our kids about sex and taught them what they need to know and not bury their heads in the fucking sand, then when it came time for, them to need to know that stuff, they're going to be prepared. They're going to be safer. They're going to be and the same, I think, holds true in sex work. I think there is no reason that you should be arresting people for sex work.
Right. If not, find other methods or program or something. Maybe work with it. Study it that way. But to ruin people's lives and throw them in jail and ruin their record where they can't just do anything ever again.
Yep.
It's
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Especially, and I'm going to be honest with you, I believe I was underage. It was the whole thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I was a young kid on my own.
Sure.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
But you're trying to, you were leaving and correct the record if I'm wrong on any of this. This is just what I gleaned from your writings. You were trying to better your situation. You were trying to.
Here's what happened.
Improve your life.
When I was prostituting, I bought my recording studio. And once I was done with my recording studio and I was able to make my own money and open up my own business because of my record being ruined, I stopped.
Yeah.
And I started making legal money with something that I love to do, which is music. And not only was I making money, but I was healing myself. It was therapy for myself. Yeah. And that was the best part of, this whole experience, that I got to get from it instead of lose, And I mean, I remember days that I was on 14th Street with a mini skirt, tube tops in the middle of Christmas, snowing, nowhere to go, no food, crying. Why am I going through this? Why am I going through this? No kid should be on Christmas on a strip in the snow with no drivers and there was no money out that day. I swear to God, there was nothing out. But it's what I had to do. Is the only thing that I was influenced to do. Is the only thing that I was shown to do. Coming into the gay community, and the gay community at that time, it was the only thing we could do.
Yeah.
We couldn't get jobs. We weren't taken seriously. We were a disease. We were a threat. We were everything negative. So we weren't treated. Fairly.
And you got to do what you got to do.
Right. You have to climb the mountain whichever way you can climb.
Mm-hmm. Let's play another song at this point.
Cool.
And then we'll come back to the story. So this one is Wrong for You. Tell us about this one.
Wrong for You is two things for me. Wrong for You is sometimes you want to be friends with people or you want to be a part of people's lives, right? But they don't want you part of theirs. It comes to where, again, this is a song where you're judging, a situation where you're judging, you're favoritizing, and sometimes this kind of method gets caught up in a relationship as well. So Wrong for You is my question to myself is, am I the right one for you? Are you the right one for me? Am I the wrong one for you? Are you the wrong one for me? So this song was just wrong for you.
I must be wrong for you. He must be worth your time. Everything we've been through, these wounds are healing scars. We break it to make up, caught up in the moment. Don't know what I was thinking, acting like you really love me. I was such a fool, damn, crashing like a dummy. Guess I misunderstood the way you kept coming from it. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, I remember the time you stole my heart from me. The way you did me wrong and afterwards you say you love me. I can't believe all this time I let you take it from me. must be wrong for you. He must be worth your time. Everything we've been through, these wounds are healing scars. Keep holding on. I must be wrong for you. He must be worth your time. Everything we've been through, these wounds are healing scars. I must be wrong for you. He must be worth your time. Everything we've been through, these wounds are healing scars.
All right. So talk to me more about this song, Wrong for You.
So there was a time where I got a little trans sick. Does that make sense? Can I say that?
What the hell does that mean? You can say whatever you want.
So it's
I may
like-
ask for clarification.
Okay, like sometimes like you wonder what your life is going to be as something else, right?
Uh-huh.
You ever wonder like what would I be if I was to be a transgender woman right now? Or
Jesus
what would
Christ,
I
that
be
was
if I
my
was to
whole,
be
like-
a man right now? Or what would it be if I was a real woman right now? Like whatever it is that you choose to desire, this song kind of had me thinking like, am I doing the right thing? Like, and I found myself like judging my relationship and my choices and stuff for a minute, and I was like, what the hell am I going through? And I needed a way to express that. And when I wrote Wrong for You, I was listening to Drake. I don't know if you know Drake. You know Drake.
Yeah,
right?
there, come on.
That's a stupid question. And
Even the hick boy from...
Yeah.
Come on.
everyone's in love with Drake.
Everybody knows Drake.
So I was thinking of his song, and I was like, I have a song that I wrote a long time ago that sounded so similar. And, we were joking around saying, Drake stole my idea and all that stuff, And then my friend was like, you should really start creating some of your old stuff again. And Drake inspired me to bring the Wrong for You song again, because I wrote that song a long time ago. I think it was about like 10 years ago. And at that time, I was just starting to date my husband, and, we were beginning, and, well, actually, we're 20 years, but, we were still in the middle of, deciding what we were going to do. And I realized that you have to be thankful for your blessings. What you have to be thankful, because I was catching myself. I kept looking at, like, other people's plate and was like, I want to eat what he's eating.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait, I want to eat what Sarah's eating. Wait a minute. No, she has something better on her plate. And I was like, wait, why am I looking other places, So this song, Wrong for You, is basically, when you think to yourself, am I wrong for you? Are we doing the right thing? When you ever find yourself in that situation, remember, if you got yourself in a situation and you're doing something and you decide that it's wrong for you, it's okay, you can walk away. But then again, you have to count your blessings, because just because you walk away from something and something's wrong for you doesn't mean that it can get better for you. It can actually get worse. So I just wanted to write a song about that moment, about having that moment.
Dan says the message of Wrong for You is so well written, combined with perfect music composition, makes this an amazing song. Great job, Izzy.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We love Dan. Dan's the best.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, so I want to step back for a minute, because I want to make sure that people are tracking with us. So we talked about I want to talk about the gender identity, sexual orientation stuff, because you've kind of been back and forth across that line, and I think, like, as a binary trans person, I somewhat envy the non-binary folks who are like, fuck it, I'm going to have, a beard and I'm going to wear a dress and you can fuck off. I love that.
And
I
I
love
was always
this
like that.
free expression of I'm going to be who I am and you can like it or not.
That's the reason why I ran away from home when I was 14 years old, because I felt like, and it had nothing to do with the sexual orientation or whatever. It was just I wanted to be grown. And I felt like I couldn't experience being grown because everyone kept telling me, you're too young. You're too young. Even now, they're like, oh, you're a baby. How old are you? 40?
Oh, my God.
I'm like, okay.
Yes.
If someone tells me I'm a baby
40.
one more time, okay, I'm going to die. I said, so I just don't like restrictions. I want to be free. You don't know how bad. I just want it to be myself. Even today, people don't understand me. They're like, oh, you're so loud. You're so fast. Slow down. You're annoying. I'm me. Mm-hmm. Love me for me. I love you for you. Mm-hmm. I love my husband for who he is, and I love everybody for who they are. And I want people to love me for who I am, too. Like, I don't care if I'm wacky and crazy and cool or I look good and I'm just whatever you want to. I want people to enjoy me for who I am. I'm tired of everyone looking at my boobs.
Right. So talk about that a little bit more than in the how you considered your gender identity over the years as that changed back and forth, and how you talk about when you got into sex work, there were friends that were sort of maybe pressuring you to do this sex work in a very specific way, present yourself in a very specific way.
Yeah, they show you the ropes.
And how did all of that?
Well, mine was like going to an underground plastic surgeon. They were like, here, girl, some condoms. Make sure the condoms don't break. If you don't come back, you don't come back. Make sure you
shit.
It was just a 1, 2, 3 go for me. Because remember, this was back in the days. Like, you was new to the area. They was like, oh, you're the new girl on the block? Okay, well, this is what you do. You're going to go there, see him. You're going to go there, do that, and bloom. And you come back and meet us right here, and you got your money. Mm-hmm. And it sounds easy, but when I was scared. I thought I was going to be murdered and I was going to be shipped in a box under the water or something. Sure. I don't know. But
well, and the stuff we see in the news now that it makes the news and is being reported.
Because it didn't make the news before.
And it's not being entirely accurately reported now. We're still dealing with the misgendering and all of this stuff.
The lying.
But it's being reported more than it used to, or more than it ever has. So, you think of a young person today seeing these headlines. I mean, the trans community, holy shit.
It's upsetting.
We lose a ton of people.
It's upsetting.
And it kills me.
It's upsetting because no matter what we do, we're always not going to fit in because we're different.
Yep.
Okay. I believe, the new transition now where we're teaching the younger generation to accept everything and, which is the right way, I believe,
Oh, yeah.
It's going to help make the future a better place. But we still have a battle to fight. The war is not over.
Yeah.
We're still fighting. But at the end of the day, again, like I said, me fighting as a man instead of fighting as a trans today, whichever way you do it, it's all for the good. It's all for the change. Right now, I've learned that, like I said earlier, looking at other people's stuff, it's not about what you do and how successful you are, or if I'm going to blow up one day and who's going to make it first, or it's about all the work we do together, accumulated, we're here for a purpose, not for ourselves. I mean, we can enjoy ourselves while we're here for the purpose, but we're here for a purpose. The work that I do, people might misunderstand me, but like, oh yeah, you just want to be famous so you can show up. But actually, I do a lot of work for the community, and I give a whole lot back to my community. And I find myself doing that more often, than worrying about my success, because that's where the happiness is. That's where the fun moments are. Those are the times where you can laugh and enjoy life, It's the experience.
What kind of stuff are you doing out in the community? That's a good one.
So I was waiting for today. Me and Gene, we finally got
Who's
our 501.
Gene? You keep saying
Gene is my husband. He's back there. He's my manager and my financial officer. And my soulmate for the
Gene,
rest of my
Gene
life.
keeps you in line. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, he's like everything for me. Like without Gene, as I won't be able to do hardly nothing.
Yeah.
He helps me so much
I know what that's like.
because it's a lot to deal with. But
Okay, community. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
we
Squirrel.
just got a 501c,
Yeah.
and I want to open up. Well, I'm in the process of opening up a nonprofit organization to help people who are infected with the HIV and AIDS virus.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to have like some place for us, in Tampa, a drop-in center.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to have recording studios, dance lessons, dance classes, singing, and all that stuff. And I want it to be free, just to help and keep the arts alive.
Yes.
In the community. And I noticed a lot of
Love
stuff
it.
have been shut down in Tampa, especially after the hurricane and stuff. A lot of things shut down. A lot of people went bankrupt and stuff. So I think this is a good way to start bringing the arts back into Tampa, because I feel that we're not, all this money being spent on all this new stuff. A lot of people, again, some people don't have money to get to these places.
Right.
So it's like we need more stuff in the community. Forget about like making buildings in Ybor City and all this stuff in places where no one can travel to. Start targeting the people, where the talent is, in the hood, in the neighborhood, where the people grew up with pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where it's at. That's where the people need help at.
We just recently launched a nonprofit and it's the scope of it is all of Polk County. But I am passionate about community building in rural areas.
Yeah.
Right? Growing up in bumblefuck Illinois in the middle of the cornfield, literally, I had a high school graduating class of 32 kids.
I love the cornfields.
The kids that I had a fun story about cornfields. The kids that I went to the kids that I graduated with, I went to kindergarten with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you couldn't come out as trans in the 90s in bumblefuck Illinois. You couldn't. And if you came out as gay, it was a whisper, whisper, whisper. Can you believe? Oh my God, I can't believe this kid. He's such a nice kid. I can't believe this. So then, layer onto that, like all of this gender questions that I was having at the time, and you couldn't, right? So I had to block that all out. And then I'm also an atheist. And so in one of those communities, it's a church on every corner. And so when you're in a marginalized group, there's nothing. I mean, it's 45-minute drive to the nearest city where there might be a thing, where there might be a program. Maybe. And so this rural community building thing really spoke to me. And so we launched a 501c3 to sort of do some of that here in this area too. So I think you're right. I think that's the way forward. I think
we need more advocates.
Yeah.
We need more people to take responsibility and, take a chance, do one thing. I know it's really hard to do things right now. There's not a lot of money. People are struggling, but there's a lot of creative things you could do.
Imagine a poor kid in the streets with all the talent in the world. How many times have we talked about this untapped talent that just doesn't have the opportunity? All of this potential that's out there in the world. And for a myriad of reasons that we have gone down a million times, we're born into a situation that does not allow them to access that skill and ability and use that to make themselves better and make the world better.
It's devastating.
And if you can create a place for those kids to go and lift them up,
you're a star.
that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, honestly, like I told, I don't know if you remember. Like I said, I'm a little lazy too. I'm human. I'm allowed to be what I want to be. And I said sometimes, I get up and I'm like, what? Here goes again with the wrong for you stuff. What would it be like if right now I was on tour, I was big like Beyonce, and I had all these major responsibilities? it's the little responsibilities that I have now. And I'm like, Jane, drive me home. I'm shivering. My body's shaking. I can't do this no more.
Yeah.
And I haven't even, I'm just starting. So imagine, this is something that it becomes a lifestyle. You have to work your body and be healthy mentally and physically to do this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So when you do something like this, it's like feeling like that. It's feeling everything. It's everything. It's a great feeling, you know? It's achievement.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel that, again, the younger community is where we need to target if we're going to work on changing the future. Because it seems like this generation and the past generation is still stuck in the old generations and they don't want to let it go.
Yeah.
You know? But life has its funnels.
One of the other questions that I wanted to sort of have you dig into for the corn folk. So at a point in your life, right, you talked about this experience in high school, and then you ended up getting kicked out of that high school, and you went to the Harvey Milk High School.
Yes, that was the first day I ever did drag.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about that. That's great.
So, shout out to my friend Vivica, aka Sage. He's actually on Pose, and he's my best friend from high school. And one day he hits me up. He's like, "Bitch, I want to do drag." And we weren't really into the whole drag thing. Everyone was into the voguing, so we were all being in the lunchroom like poof, 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 poof. And next thing you know, like the whole drag thing springs up, and like, so I was like, I'm all about publicity stunts. Like, you know, I'm trying to be popular. I'm trying to get my hands in everything, you know. I'm trying to get as much education as possible and experience. So I was like, down, let's do drag. And it just hit me. So I snuck my mom's clothes and I went to the wig store and I couldn't even afford a wig. Oh my God, Vivica, you're going to kill me. But is it? I bought these two little clip pieces. They were like just some hair on a track and a clip. I bought two of them because I couldn't afford a wig, and I just like went one on one. It was like a mop. Bloop. And it was funky. I hooked it up and I went to school. We both went to school. Now, for him it was a little simpler because he had his stuff in his knapsack and he came and got dressed in the bathroom at school. Not me. I had to come from my house down the block on the train through New York City, an hour and a half on a train, to school, up the stairs into my classroom.
My gosh.
And next thing you know, I'm being pulled out of homeroom. And I got expelled and kicked out of school. They said that I was dressed inappropriately, and I was causing a disturbance to the school, and I was causing a riot.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because everyone was clapping, was like, yeah, Izzy, go, work, work. And they thought it was a riot, you know. And my principal at that time, he's been picking on me since the first day he saw me. So, you know, it was bound to happen. But that was his cue, you know, and, you know, he got me.
Damn.
Yeah. But I told him, you know, I'm going to be successful with
right.
You know.
So, but then you end up at Harvey Milk.
Yes. I ended up going to Harvey Milk School because, see, what happened was I joined the House of Latex. And I started doing outreach and teaching safe sex. And I started hitting on my areas where I used to, prostitute and start educating these people. And I started reversing the role. I started talking these kids off the street and I started introducing them to Harvey Milk with the voguing and with the dance competitions and all the stuff. And, you know, and it was working. We all went to Harvey Milk and, I met a whole family of gay kids and they are legendary today. Every single one of them are somebody important in the LGBT movement. Yep.
That's great.
It's funny how you're little and you grow up with people and you're like, you guys are not going to be nobody. I'm going to be better than you. No, you're not going to be nobody. I'm going to be better than you. And next thing you know, we're all somebody, you know.
It's so great.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So talk about the ballroom scene. Again, for Lily White, Midwest America.
What do you want to know about the ballroom
We
scene?
don't know anything about the ballroom scene growing up in the middle of... What do? We make meth out at one of the farms and
I'm done. Is the show over?
I mean, that took off after I graduated and moved away, but yeah, right. Not me. Do you want to get on the mic now that you're here? Becca's in the studio.
we need some more.
Sure.
Yeah, there's always
Tagging in. Oh my God, I thought she was never going to
I missed you.
I missed you too.
so the ballroom.
So the ballroom scene.
So that ties into the House of Latex. So after I started doing outreach and going to the clubs and stuff, I actually got scouted to be in the House of Latex because I was voguing. But when I was voguing, they didn't pick me to be for voguing. I met Arbor Santana Latex. And he goes, "Ooh, child." He goes, "I see you for face." And I'm like, "What the hell is that?" I'm like, "You want to see my face?" So I was like, "What is that?" So he was like, "Ooh, child, you have a beautiful, I want you to walk face from my house." And I was like,
house? What the hell are you talking about?
But God, rest in peace, Arbor. But at the time, I didn't know him at all. So I'm looking at him like, "I don't know you," and he was heavy. So I was like, "Who are you?" I don't know you. So at the same time, like, I'm trying to listen to this other conversation, and I'm hearing one of my friends, my close friends, like, "Oh, he's becoming in a Moschino, and he's gonna walk face, and it's the new." And I was getting jealous, and I was like, "Wait, how I brought my friend here? He's already getting initiated before me." I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take you off. I'm a Latex." And then that day, they put me and my best friend to battle for face. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just walked on a runway, and we were like, carrying the hell. I already know what the hell we were doing. Okay. And next thing you know, so I won. And then, like, I was shocked because I always thought my friend was better looking than me, and I was always intimidated by him. But I won anyway. And then after that, like, we had a problem with our friendship.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we stopped talking. And then I got deeply into the battle. Like, I started feeling like a diva, and I started doing my thing. But Arbor Santana and House of Latex really is the one who introduced me to Ballroom alongside my two friends from high school. And I was actually a Latex first. Then I saw my first transgender woman at this club called Planet 28, aka the Clubhouse. And I was, first of all, so I come out of GMAC, which is Gay Men's Health Crisis in New York City. That's where the House of Latex dwells at, and that's where they're from. And I'm surrounded by all these gay people, and then I meet this one guy. He goes, "Child, you have a beautiful face. Come here. You have a boyfriend?" And he was trying to like hit on me, but he was much older, and I wasn't interested at the time in older guys. You know, when you first come out, you want guys your age and stuff. So, and his name was Eric Christian Bazaar, and he introduced me to his friend Mysterious Dior, and they both were like fighting over me, like who was gonna take me home, and who was. It was amazing. I was like, whoa, But they ended up becoming my best friends. Cool friends. And then they invited me to the Clubhouse, and that's how I ended up finding about the Clubhouse. And then once I went to the Clubhouse, I saw everything. I seen my first transgender woman. That was the first time I seen gay hip hop, like gay urban people. Like, it was the first time I seen a different kind of gays, and I just loved it. I fell in love with the music. They had their own dances and stuff, and I was like, I want to do that. And I met Rose Chanel and Cheyenne Aphrodite. Those were the two transgender women that I've ever met. And they were like shocking to me because I couldn't believe. My friend was like, "Do you know that those were men before?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Well, did you say what?" and I just couldn't believe it. And I kept looking at them and looking at them. My friend was like, "Don't tell me you're going to start dating trannies now." And I was like, no, that's not it at all. And I had bumped into my friend at the time. Her name is Janice now. And she goes, "Come here, Kat. I want to introduce you to some queens." And when I turn around, it's the two transgender women that I was like shocked. And I was like, "Oh my God, I need to meet them." And I met Rose and I met Cheyenne, and I was stuck. I was like, how did you do this? And, we became friends. She was like, "I'm going to be a gay mother." And I went to Rose's house, and she was like, "Child, turn around." And I was like, "Why?" And next thing I know, I turned around, and I felt a dart shot, like, in my butt. And I was like, and I was out. I slept for like 3 days, and then I woke up with tits.
I want to pry into that story so much more, but I'm going to resist.
Short version. And that's where it took me. See, this is where the story gets crazy, because I went from prostitution to stop prostituting.
Yeah.
And then I went back into it again. And that's where we got stuck.
Yeah.
because there still was no jobs. We still had to survive, and we had to
Right.
keep up with our status in the ballroom scene. You know, the ballroom scene is very tricky. Okay, it can be a great community if you know how to work with it and utilize yourself within the community, and it could be a very hard community when it comes to opinions and how they feel about things and stuff like that. So it's very tricky, and it's also a competition. There's a lot of things. You have a lot of talent, you have competition, you have egos, you have family, you have pride, you have a lot of things going on. So ballroom is a junction. It's just a special place, where all kinds of fabulous things happen. It's up to you to kind of outlet what you want to get out of ballroom. Excuse me.
I just want to point out something that struck me in what you just said. Reminder, you can still be fired for being gay or trans in 26 states in the United States. Just for being gay. Don't like your kind, you're fired.
Same thing happens to the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hispanics and the immigrants.
So we have a long way to go. And a couple of comments in the chat here. Anna says, my friend and coworker joined House of Ninja.
Oh,
Their
my sister house.
voguing was amazing, and I still encourage dancing. And Dan, and this is the tie-in, if you had 3 genie-granted wishes in order to help the LGBTQ community, what specifically would they be?
3 wishes from a genie in the magic lamp?
Yep.
Now, are we talking Aladdin genie or are we talking a dream of genie? Because okay. So
3 of each. Would you?
Yeah, sure.
for the LGBT community, 1 would be to get rid of the racism within the community. Second one would be to get rid of the racism outside of the community. And the third one would be for eternal peace and love, finally.
Do you see, have you seen in your life, this is something that we've talked about before and that we see come up in news stories and stuff, the infighting between the alphabet soup.
The ABCD.
Right? With LGBTQIA
I
plus
hate
whatever.
when they do that,
It's
especially
like,
when the straight people do that.
damn
oh
it,
my
there
God.
was
They're
a-
like, what are you, like Q, L, D, B, G, T?
There's a new one out there, and I can't remember what it is, but maybe I'll be able to look it up while we're talking.
No, the one that I can't stand is, are you a transformer? I don't like,
Oh God.
you're still
More
watching
than
that?
meets the eye.
I was like, you're still watching that?
But, the idea that you have gay or lesbian people that look at bi people and you have to choose. You can't just, whatever. Like, it's got to be one or the other. And then people that look at trans people. We have this division inside our community that is a wound that needs to be healed.
Oh, I don't like you because you're a top. Oh, I don't like you because you're a bottom. I don't like you because you're a tranny top. I don't like you because you're a tranny bottom.
Yeah.
I don't like you because you have fat feet.
All the qualifiers that people put on, like Scruff and Grinder, right? Like no fats, no
It's
femmes.
a turn off.
Like, come on.
Oh my God, listen. One time we were on Grindr. Oh my God. And I was just reading like people's descriptions. Why is it that everyone on Grindr has a rant on their profile? I was like, whoa. Everyone's like, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't do femmes, I don't do fats. I was like, wow.
Right?
Like, can somebody point me to the menu section where I can just order what I want? Can I custom that?
Right.
We need an app for that.
I don't know what's wrong with our community. Like, our community was influenced so much by the stuff that's going on outside of our community. I feel like we lost touch within our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's
Excuse me.
it's the idea of remembering where we've come from, right? The gay rights movement was started by trans women rioting, and we've seen what happened to to people of color and black people in this community in this country, And we've seen what happened to women in this country. And you roll back all the way back to the beginnings of America. And every marginalized group has a common story. And so I feel like when we start talking about trans rights, right? Let's start there.
I really hate the word trans, too.
Then
I really hate that one, too.
trans rights. And then, right, you would expect that all of these other marginalized communities who have been through this before, like, you all ought to be with us. You ought to be on ours. You ought to be out marching on Washington talking about you need to pass the Equality Act because trans people and gay people and bi people and non-binary people shouldn't be able to be fired from their jobs just for being who they are. They shouldn't be able to be denied housing just for who they are. And you would expect, but it's like that once I got mine, I'm good. Now you're on your own.
Is this on? Here's what I'm gonna clap back at that. Okay. First off, women empowerment. That's the word I want to talk about right now. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, are we the first community to actually go outside and represent and support anything outside of our genders? The gay movement is all about women's rights and standing up for women. You know, it all started with equal rights. First, it was you're not black enough. You're not white enough, skinny or fat. You're a woman. You can never be a president. You're a woman, you can never get a job. Your job is to have babies and clean. And, oh, you can't get a job like me, honey. Your education, you know, and then it goes to, oh, sweetheart, you're too gay. You're too loud. You need to learn to simmer down. And how many more what is going on here? We have been empowering women for years in the LGBT community to the point where we're able till today where we can stand up and finally get equal rights for ourselves, you know? You know what really pisses me off? When I see women not supporting the gays.
That's what I'm talking about. You went
we
through
support
this.
women and help women become equal and have rights today because we were the muscle power for women during that war and that movement. And today, we're expecting equal support.
Yes.
We're expecting it. Because if it wasn't for us manpower that supported the women's movement or women empowerment, it would have been a longer, harder battle for the women. No.
Yep.
And I feel that that was a perfect example of how the gay community can come outside of its culture and what its beliefs is and still support something that's not in our culture and still be proper, you know?
Yes.
Sorry, I got a little hype there.
That's my whole point is that you have all of these communities who have been through this before in their own subcategory of whatever.
Everything is categorized.
We need you to stand up and fight for LGBTQ rights.
For everyone's rights.
Sure.
Everyone's rights. What happens when God blesses you a child that happens to be LGBT or trans in the future? What are you going to do? You start preparing yourself now. You don't know what lessons the Lord Almighty has in store for you. So, you know, you have to prepare in the information that's given to you. The information and the facts that we have now is, you know, is what you start with. You use this information and you prepare yourself. Whether you believe or you don't, you still want to be safe than sorry. I don't know about the rest.
I found the word I was looking for. Finally. So as an alternative to LGBT, LGBTQ, LGBTQI, LGBTQIA++, GSM, gender and sexual minorities.
I hear GSM and I think general store manager.
I don't.
There was another one too. There was a 4-letter.
No categorizing. We need to look. If you want to be a woman, and if you said you're a woman, that's what you want to be. That's what you are. That's what you are. If I want to be blue, if I want to be blonde, leopard suit, I'm blonde with a leopard suit.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
We're humans.
Because I have sequins and I have a blonde beard. Does that mean I'm a woman?
No.
What, am I, a reverse woman or something? Why do we have to categorize everything red, yellow, green.
Right.
The flag, ladies and gentlemen, the flag stands for unity. All of us. Every race is a color on this flag. Every race, every skin color is on one of these flags. Our flag represents unity, equality from the beginning within everything. No categorizing, no nothing. No, none of that. We're all the same, human, man, woman. If you want to wear a wig, if you want your armpits to grow long, you're still what you want to be.
Yes.
You know, you can if you're 150 pounds and you want to say you're 112, you're 112. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
It's all about respect.
We have to see the humanity in each other.
Does that mean I'm only 27 years old?
We have to see the humanity in each other.
We have to have respect,
and that's a problem
for ourselves
right
and
now.
the place that we live in and the way we treat others, because we are a reflection we are a reflection to what we do and who we are.
Yeah,
especially to those who have kids.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do another song.
Cool.
And then I want to talk about. We've talked a lot about New York. I want to talk about leaving New York. And how you found your way all the way down here to Florida.
Wow.
Long
journey.
So let's do this first. The next song that we have lined up is So Hard. Talk about that.
So Hard actually is a rendition to one of George Michael's songs off of Wham.
Classic.
I just wanted to tribute George Michael on this EP because, you know, especially the whole stunt when he went to jail for like cruising in the bathrooms. That was so cool. I'm sorry, guys. Listen, I'm adult contemporary. That was cool. I'm sorry. That's legendary. Who does that? That's
George
iconic.
Michael.
George Michael. Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
All right.
Good stuff.
Great. Hey, Kim.
We're back with Izzi Starz. Go ahead. You had Michael in the chat.
Oh yeah, Michael's with Kim, who
Hey, Kim. How are you, beautiful girl?
knows this lovely man.
I love Kim. She is so amazing. When I met her, she is like a jewel. Her personality is amazing.
Everybody in chat's enjoying the music.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
David said you may be thinking of SAGA, sexuality and gender acceptance. No, this is something entirely different. It's something that the atheist community of Austin had. They have a show called Secular Sexuality, and they've been pushing this alternative to LGBTQ. That instead of, I don't want to get bogged down into this, but instead of listing out lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, intersex, asexual, and on and on and on. Instead of doing that, then the label, the acronym is about people who have a different experience with sexuality and with gender identity than is considered mainstream or quote normal in society. I just can't. There's one more that I couldn't find in addition to the one that I had. But I'm with you. I think here's the thing. We are as a species, we are very scientifically minded, and we like to fucking categorize everything.
Yeah.
You know, we got to put categories and labels on everything. And so, that's kind of what's happening here. And then once you have LGBT, once you had LGB, then it becomes, well, hold on, but my group doesn't fit into the mainstream either, so you got to put mine in there. And then somebody else comes in and says, yeah, mine doesn't either. You got to add my letter to the end.
I still think we need to reclaim the word queer.
I agree.
It a day.
Yep. I have been pushing that for a long time.
Queer?
Pick a word. I don't care what it is.
Old school. I still like gay.
Hold on. Well,
I still like gay.
Yeah.
It's happy.
I posted something.
I like when they were like, oh, he's the gay one. I'm like, yes, it's me. I feel like a star, in the neighborhood. They're like, oh my God, he's the gay one. And you're like, hey, how you doing, girl?
Hold on. I will find it because I posted it just yesterday.
What?
I posted a meme about the word queer.
Oh. No, it's horrible that this is like naming a baby. Like we're trying to figure out the name for the child.
Right?
This is
hard.
crazy.
and again, like I whatever it is, I'm open to suggestion. I just think there's something better than the alphabet soup acronym. That's all.
Right. Oh, remember the alphabet soup? Oh God.
Alphabet soup.
You had to say that. You just put some. I'm gonna put that's a great Instagram post. I'm gonna have. It's gonna say LGBT in my soup. That'll be dope.
Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about at some point you left New York City.
Yes.
So talk about leaving. How did you pick up and decide, okay, I'm going to go move to Pennsylvania now?
Your popularity goes down in the ballroom community because once the new generation comes in, you're old news. It's the same thing as celebrity life, entertainment, media. You're talked about this week, next week, you're old news, and when you're at a young age, you don't understand that. You just start thinking like, oh, I'm washed up. Nobody loves me no more. I got to go. But, I couldn't make money in the circuit anymore. And the ballroom circuit was just not for me anymore. I wasn't making money as transgender. At that time, I was already done with the whole street walking stuff. I was fighting. I became an advocate. And I just had a hard time trying to find a job and pay my bills. I couldn't survive. I ended up like Sylvia Rivera, nothing. And then I had to leave to PA. I met up with my godfather, showed me PA. I came back to New York. I liked it. Then I went back, and that's when I met Jean. I met my partner, and I saw there was potential in this small community, and I said, here's my chance to do something. I saw the potential. I seen that there was nothing there. I could build a business. I can change my life. I can do something. And I had a clear shot for once in my life, and I took it. And I ended up moving to Pennsylvania. I peeled. I stopped all of the ballroom shenanigans, and I wasn't doing, drags, or I wasn't dressing up or taking over. I wasn't doing any of that stuff anymore. And I wanted to focus on getting my life together and kind of building something with my real life. And I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I just needed a shot. I just needed a chance and a place to do it. So Reading, Pennsylvania was the place where I decided to start Starstruck Records. And we opened up a little clothing store, and we were bringing clothes from New York. I was hustling clothes from New York and bringing all the hot gear into Pennsylvania. So that got me popular really quick. Everyone was like, that's the boy with all the hot clothes. I want to dress just like him. So I had like the whole Reading, Pennsylvania was like wanting to like dress like me. So I started selling like my style of stuff that I wear. Then I started doing music, and I met Quadir and the rest of the LGBT community in Reading, Pennsylvania, and I just absolutely fell in love with their family bond that they had. It was something that I hadn't seen in New York, and I was like, this is cool. I want to experience this. This is something I want to be a part of. And when I started, hanging around Quadir and Carlos and, oh my God, Will, and, they all wanted to do music. And we all joined forces, and we opened up a label, and we were rock stocking.
That's awesome.
We were rock stocking. And the whole community called us hood celebrities. We were hood celebrities. And it became difficult because people saw what I was doing, and they saw I was making a lot of money. So I had a lot of competition, other labels, other clothing stores, anything that I would do, it will pop up in other places in the area, multiple,
We try to copy.
Yeah, so it was
Cash in on the trend.
Yeah, and it was becoming hard because I thought it was just going to be a clear, easy road. I was going to be able to do to scoop up all this money. I was going to be, yay. But it was, there was gangs down that road. Even though it was nothing on that road, there was nothing but sharks down that road. And I learned a lot. It made me the businessman that I am today, the crazy shark that I am today. But I struggled. It was hard. I didn't know anything about business. I didn't have anybody to mentor me or be there or give me any lessons or anything, So I had to figure this out on my own. There was times that people were stealing my artists. People were sending artists to my studio to sneak and see what I was doing, prices, and then they would go and do something bigger and better. One time, there was this kid, he wanted to come to my label. And I said, okay, he's a little young, but I said I will work with him with his mom and everything, got the parent consent and everything. And a leading competitive label that was in the area had their boys jump him in school. So the boy was scared to rap anymore. And he was really good at it, and they traumatized him. And the thing is that when you do that to a little boy at a certain age and you see a posse of people and, and you're young.
It only takes that one time and you shut him down.
Some of them shut down. Some of them get rebellious and some of them don't have it. I was one of those, I don't have it. Man. You cannot scare me. You can't. I'm unscarable. Okay? But there's people.
Have you seen our dog? No, I'm just kidding.
No. Yeah, he scared me. He wouldn't even let me in. No. But seriously, it was hard. It was really hard, when you try to do something for your community and you're going to have good things, but you're going to have bad things as well. You just got to, life's a battle. You just got to go through it like a roller coaster. You just got to go and
So at what point then did we decide, okay, Pennsylvania, let's go to Florida? I don't know if you listen. I don't know if you read the news, but Florida.
We don't really have a good reputation.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why I moved here either.
I was born
okay.
here. I didn't have a choice.
See, it depends. Okay, it depends because for me, it works out for me. Because, okay, let me explain a little bit. Well, first of all, before we go into that, let me tell you, while I was in Pennsylvania, I actually got signed to Caprice International Records, Canadian American Records. I don't know if you ever heard of the rock legend Joey Wells. He's the one who wrote 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock with him. That's my mentor. I met him in Pennsylvania. I was at a Burger King. And this guy comes in, crazy man, and I'm like, I like his style. He's talking loud, talking to himself crazy. I'm like, yeah, he's crazy like me. And he just ordered some stuff, and he ordered like everything off the menu, and he just took all the stuff and walked to the thing, and I said, Gene, that's so cute. The old guy came from the old folks' home, and they gave him free food.
Oh my God, it's great.
Oh my God, I have this cough. And he turns around, he goes, do you know who I am? And I'm like, He's like, I'm Joey Wells. I'm legendary. I was like, I'm on a rock hall of fame.
Gosh.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm an artist. I sing. He was like, you do? And next thing you know, we become friends. We're sitting there having free Burger King.
Wow.
And he's talking about bringing me to his studio, showing me his Rock Hall of Fame, all his plaques and all the stuff he worked with. And when I went to his house and I seen his stuff, oh my God, God bless this man. This man literally showed me everything today that I do. Everything that I'm doing today, he blessed me with. He showed me my publishing. He showed me everything that I'm doing right now. He's a real, true, genuine guy. He's just really old school. You know what I mean? And a lot of people take advantage of him, so you can't really bring anybody into his life. You know what I mean? This is a personal thing.
Yeah.
You have to bond over Burger King first.
Yeah, you have to bond over Burger King first. And it can't be McDonald's. I don't do McDonald's. I do Burger King, okay? And, no, I'm just kidding. And, no, I don't want McDonald's to stop sponsoring
Yeah, right, with
me.
sponsorships, yeah.
Okay, so, then he's the one who showed me the ropes and gave me my first opportunity and put me in the studio and released my first record. I actually wrote an oldie song for one of his artists. I can't reveal the information because of contract.
Right.
But you guys know who it is. She's out. And I promised that I would sell the song and I would never tell nobody that I wrote it. Okay? So, but I need you got to start somewhere. That's just how the business is, Yeah. And then from there, I was being attacked. Like, it was like the ocean back in the day, like the pirates. People were just attacking me because the more fame that you get, the more money you start building, and the more you start building your empire, the more the others are going to come for you, And I needed to just get away. At that time, I was already making money and having royalties and published, and I just needed a place to get away where I could concentrate and write and figure out what I want my music to be about. So at that point in time, I was like, I'm moving to Florida because I need time to work on my craft right now, and I can't be bothered with my friends and my family. I know it's messed up that I said that. Please don't hold that against me. I love you. But I have to,
Just
I have
put
to
some
do what I have to do.
distance in there, yeah.
Yes, because when I'm writing in the studio, I do not like to be bothered. I don't take phone calls. I don't eat dinners. I don't go to the emergency room.
This isn't healthy, Izzy. We need to talk about this.
Yeah, I can't. When I'm focused, I'm focused. The minute that I come off of focus, I'm not focused.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's
Definitely.
like
So here in Florida, I can actually write my music and get up and enjoy the weather. Up north, it's too cold. I'm a singer. I have asthma. And dealing with the cold is really hard being a singer for me. If I go into a room that's a little too cold, I'm sick for a week. And I have to make sure that I keep myself able to perform and record and be, healthy when it comes to those type of things, because the cold really, I shiver. I went to a show, and it was in Rockefeller Center. I'll never forget this. And it was with my school. It was snowing outside. I was shivering so bad. I couldn't even vibrato. I couldn't even sing. I was like, it was a nightmare.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm
not
never
good.
doing that again. That ruined my career. Like, never doing that again,
well, especially I think when you, as a performer, you're a perfectionist.
Yeah, you
So
can
if
give
you
me $1 million.
can't-
The answer is no.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the cold.
So
Yeah.
Florida,
Yeah, I have to live in the warm areas.
was this your decision? Was it a group decision? Did
Actually,
you
it
sit
was-
down
it was-
and
Actually, my label was devastated. And we went through a horrible, well, it wasn't horrible, but it was a tough separation because I felt like I was leaving my team because not everyone was able to come down the floor with me.
right.
But I found a way to continue networking and working with my artists and my fam and my team back home in Reading. And we're still working together,
Well, that's good.
One of my artists just released a single called Nalinga by Cubase. Shout out to Cubase. And it's doing amazing.
Dan has a question in the chat. Can you tell us about how you met your husband?
Yes, and you want to hear? It's get ready, okay? Have a seat, because this is. I'm gonna give you the short version, okay? So, I call my godfather and I'm like, I'm depressed. I can't be in New York no more. There's too much competition. These queens are better than me. So I went to Reading and he was like, come stay with me. And when I get there, on the process of me going there, he went to a party the night before. I got my ticket, I'm getting ready to go, got everything packed. And on my way over there, I find out he's in the hospital. He got his neck slashed.
Oh, my God.
Somebody tried to rob him for his jewelry, and they cut his throat.
God.
So when I get there...
I'd be turning the train around.
Are you like, okay,
He's in the hospital.
maybe this is not a good idea.
That's
Well, that made me want to go even more because I was like, oh, my God, this was meant for me to go and be different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah,
when
that's
I
fair.
went and I got there, well, first of all, I didn't know my godfather had a boyfriend. So when I get there, his boyfriend was sitting beside him. And then I was like, yeah, maybe he was going to tell me when I got there. And then Jean was his nurse.
Oh, my God.
Jean was his nurse, and he walks in, and at that time, my godfather was still, like, knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
And Jean went to school with my godfather's boyfriend. So they're like, hey, I know you from high school. He's like, hey. He's like, oh, my God, I didn't know you were gay. And they're, like, telling each other, like, they're literally coming out the closet to each other. Like, over, like, and then my godfather just wakes up from the dead. He's just like, what are you doing talking to my man? That's the first thing he says when he gets up from surgery. And he goes, no, this is okay. This is my friend from high school, you know. So then, you know, we're you know, obviously my godfather was okay,
Right,
you know,
right.
and we were having a laughing moment, you know, and he just got up, and next thing you know, it was my godfather's idea for us to go on a double date,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then from that double date, it just stood like that. It turned to 20 years.
Wow.
This was back in 1999.
Great question, Dan.
Yeah,
That's
I've
good.
been
I
with
like
the
that
same
story.
Yeah.
man for 20 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. People be like, what? The fuck wrong with you? We get so many crazy responses when we say that. It's crazy.
That's bullshit, too.
That is too. Yeah.
Right?
It shouldn't.
This-
Like, why are people so surprised by that?
They're like, oh my God, you're gay? I'm like, they don't even last like 3 months. I'm like, well, we've been together
Right.
20 years.
Like gay equals promiscuous.
Like, oh,
Like, there's
God, you guys
this
are straight. You guys are not gay. You guys are straight.
Guess what? Straight people can be promiscuous too.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
All right, what else? Do you have anything else? Anything else going on in the chat? We have one more song to play. And so we've kind of gone through this long journey in your life,
And we still didn't cover everything.
and no, there's not enough time in the day.
We're going to have to save it for the movie script.
Yes. You can tell us about that in a minute.
Telling you.
But again, like when I started sort of after we connected and I started, you know, doing some reading and some researching, this is a story of a kid in the streets of New York City.
Lost. Just wanting to have friends and be loved and have fun.
Yeah.
That's all I ever wanted.
And today, you have a master's in music from Full Sail with an emphasis in vocal and audio engineering.
Mm-hmm.
You're running a successful business.
Multiple.
You're creating a nonprofit organization to help in the community. It's just, the story touched me so much. Your music could have been shit, and I would have wanted to talk to you about the story.
Really?
Luckily, your music's not shit. We got a twofer.
I remember those days too when it was. I remember, when you first start something, it's so crazy because people criticize your work, and it's like if I wanted to take if I had a daughter and my daughter drew me a picture with stick figures, I'm gonna cherish that picture because it's my daughter's beautiful. It's a shame that we don't treat other people's work like that.
Art.
When they're serious about their stuff.
It's their
you know?
expression.
And sometimes, you know, like all this stuff about constructive criticism is, you have to be careful with constructive criticism because sometimes you can crush someone's life by saying the wrong thing. And if you're not professional, I mean, not that you're perfect. If you're not if you don't do that professionally, you shouldn't really be critiquing. You know, you should just appreciate, this is a beautiful artwork. Right? I love this song. You know, there's no need to criticize anything. You know, it's like the same thing. We're going to put you as are you an L? Are you, she's a BT. Oh, no, she's a T. She's a B. L, G, 1, 2, 5, 6.
Right.
Here we go again.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to avoid. Like, sometimes I had a movement going on once before that. I was producing music, and I was not mastering it on purpose. For a whole year, I did that. And I wanted to see how many people were going to appreciate the music or bash it.
Right.
For that whole year, everyone bashed my stuff. And they're like, "Well, Izzy, why you sitting there smiling? You're not even getting mad. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you're taking all this like a champ." And I'm like, "Cause y'all's a bunch of fools."
Yep. You just don't know.
You know, and me, you know, I was studying marketing at that time. So what I did was I put those kind of fans in a different funnel.
Yep.
And then I put the ones who really care about me in another funnel.
Yep.
How often have we talked about, like, in the visual art medium, you know, somebody paints something and 100,000 people could walk by it,
How
and
can you
one
criticize
person,
somebody's visual creation?
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Well, I think this is all interconnected to what we talked about earlier. We're so judgmental as a society. When you take a look at somebody, you're automatically assessing.
yeah,
Or is that a man? Or is it a woman?
Manscape?
Or is it whatever it is? We're so judgmental about what people do with their person. Why wouldn't we expect the same judgmental attitude about what people do to express their personality
right.
outside of their person? You know, so I think
And I
just have a long way to come.
bouginess has made its way into a household name,
Right?
You know, because everybody has a little bit of it somewhere at home.
I think we
spoiled ourselves. We're too spoiled.
as a culture, I think we don't appreciate the arts the way we should.
Oh, sure.
We
Absolutely.
expect perfection from everyone, and
Well,
And
and you
art is
have
not
these
about
shows
No, it's
now. You have
not.
the X Factor and the what Got Talent, and you get a panel of judges ready to X.
Right.
You know, you're out of here,
No
and
good.
and it shouldn't be that way.
I don't. That's why I don't.
I mean,
support. I
those-
don't watch those shows. Like
Those
that.
shows are very entertaining for what they
Those
are.
shows, I really don't
but
care
they're
for
not-
their support or sponsorship.
Yeah.
I really don't.
you ready for a quotable?
Sure.
Art is not about perfection. Art is about expression.
Yep.
I love that. That is
Mhm.
tens across
Put that on a fucking t-shirt.
board.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Tens. That was legendary. That was iconic. That was tens across the fucking board, bitch.
Y'all,
Bye.
everybody
She just blew all of y'all
led
out
me to
of
the moment.
box. Sarah has talked. She did that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she did that with grace.
Okay, so we have one more song to play. This is Rule Over, and we talked a little bit about some of these beforehand, and this is one that I appreciate the sort of connection and backstory to. So tell us a little bit about this one.
Well, people always ask me, how have you kept your relationship with your husband for 20 years, being in a gay relationship? And everyone thinks we have like this perfect life. Oh my God, you've been together 20 years. You guys must be great at it. What's your secret? What's your recipe? You guys are perfect. What are you guys doing? Is there a little jumbo in there? Like salt, pepper? What are you? And we're like, you know, and this song right here, and this whole EP is basically to show you, you know, even though we've been together 20 years, this is some of the stuff and the challenges that we went through within those 20 years. And Rule Over is a rendition of Tears for Fears, Rule the World. But with this rendition, I wanted to express how sometimes when you get into a relationship, there's always one person, or they both try to dominate each other. Who's going to be the one in charge? Who's going to wear the pants? Who's going to be right? Who's going to be wrong? You know what I mean? And we lived that for so long, and we did it. We played that same song so many times that we've learned our own lesson off of our own song and our own tune, you know? So this song right here is a remembrance of those times, and I wanted to share it with my fellow LGBTQ community out there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey. And I wanted to, you know, have an EP where they can relate to me and be like, yo, like, they did it. We could do it too, but they had obstacles. And I don't want people to see, oh, the leather, the glitter and the glitz and the blonde beard. I want people to know my real truth. Like, this is all stuff that I picked up along the way. This is like stuff I got from gift shops from here and there all over the world, you know, but my journey, my real self is all about, you know, this relationship. It's all about everything that I've done. This album is all about everything that's in my relationship. Does that make sense? So Rule Over, it's a remembrance to that, you know, and I just wanted to let people know. Sorry.
I guess I wasn't over my head, thinking that was gonna be easy, but it turned out so hard instead. And I remember the day that we met. We didn't want to fall hard, nope, we ain't want to regrets, but we decided to do it instead. We weren't really thinking about it, sometimes we seem to forget. Over time we started losing respect, lose with regrets, getting reckless, causing regrets. You have it in your destiny. Turn your back like you don't care. Telling lies are true for today. Oh, you really trying to do it. Welcome to my life. Oh, you're trying to do emptiness and shine. No way out this time. Behind the hate and shine. We ain't in the best behavior, even though I love long. It's as big as the equator, that's how I'm being. You can keep it together, even last forever. 20 years, keep it strong and weather. In my life, there could be no one other than the love I got for you. I guess you find out sooner or later. But baby, wait, my heart is taking a wrong turn. Out of this long term, guess I let it crash and just let it burn.
So I sort of interrupted you as you were coming into that, and I apologize for that.
No problem, no problem. What I wanted to say was, I know everyone realizes, that situation with the song and their relationship where someone, you're in love with someone and someone just wants to run everything. And I learned that, going through the differences that we had, we were doing that to each other. And, this song is like a remembrance to when we used to do that. And we, because we don't do that anymore. And we're trying to prosper to better and bigger, better things in a different, whole different, healthier lifestyle within our relationship. But this song is just a remembrance of those hard times that, that we used to go through.
That we all go through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about what you have on the plate coming up. What are you working on? What's the next project that you've got coming?
I have, like I said, I'm getting ready to open up this nonprofit organization, but I'm trying to do a tour. I would like to do a music tour for some artists, and I can't really speak too much about it because I have some other people involved in it, and I don't want to say too much and get them upset. But
sure,
I know Alyssa was trying to do a tour as well.
Yeah, we talked about that, I believe, when she was here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. So I think everyone's playing their part to try to help Alyssa out and get that tour together. So what I'm doing is I like I said, I'm getting the nonprofit organization together so that way we can raise funds and we can actually have a tour, and have the funds for it and start celebrating unity and call it the Unity Tour and start showcasing LGBT artists and showcasing the lifestyle and the arts that we bring from our culture.
Yeah. And the messages.
Right.
The stories.
And also we want to help out with, the crisis that we have going on when it comes to, help, immediate help in the LGBTQ. Like you have immigration, you have LGBT everywhere, and there's no help for us. There's no organizations. You have to fly to different states just to go get medicines
Yes.
and see certain doctors and things. And I feel like it shouldn't be like that, you know?
And it's good. And not to get too political, but we're going there soon. It's getting worse, right? We're seeing all these states pass this garbage laws about abortion restrictions. And, well, if you want to have an abortion in Alabama, tough shit. You have to go somewhere else to get that service. And again, speaking to that unity and the idea that marginalized groups should come together because we know how it feels to be a marginalized group. Those are similar stories that these different communities all have that should be bringing us together. And I think the question is, what are we doing to bring these communities together? So I think that's great that you're working towards, especially with the nonprofit. That's going to be, I think that'll do so much good.
Yeah, I think it's time. I think we deserve it, and it's time that somebody. I waited like 4 to 5 years to see if anyone else was gonna do something, but since it's not happening anytime soon, so I feel like I want to get involved.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you know today is icon grandfather Hector Extravaganza's birthday?
No.
Yes, let's sing happy birthday.
Oh.
1,
you up for
2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear grandfather Hector Extravaganza. Happy birthday to you. Oh.
We changed. We used a modulation there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a lot,
I really
a lot
miss
to
him.
say in those.
It's all right. If I'd have
3
known we were
syllables.
going to sing, I would have grabbed a guitar and we just stayed on
Oh
key.
my goodness.
Anyway, so before we, we'll come back to this again before we wrap up, but just briefly, if people want to find out more about what you're doing, find your music, where do we send them?
You can go to houseofstars.com.
That's stars with a Z.
Yes, HOUSEOFSTARZ.com. Or you can just Google Izzi Starz, IZZISTARZ.
And we'll have all of those links in the notes of this episode, of course. I do want to take a minute to thank the patrons who give us their hard-earned money to keep this stupid show going. Thanks to Greg. Greg did a pledge edit, and I don't think we thanked him for it a couple of weeks ago. So that's a good reminder. You can always go in and increase your pledge, your patron amount. So thank you, Greg. And thanks to our top patrons, declined patron Russell, who is still declined. Wumbology, the study of Wumbo, it's first grade. And Dan in Arizona, the official SarahTalk podcast researcher. Thank you all very much. And I do want to say, while we're on the topic of Dan,
Yes.
we love you, and we know how hard it is to lose a beloved member of the family.
Yes.
And we're thinking of you, and if there's any consolation to be had in a moment like this, maybe it's knowing that you gave Moose a lifetime of love.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really liked the idea of pet ownership, like this property ownership thing. Like, these are companions in our lives.
They are. They're
Right.
family members.
Wait, are we talking about
We're
slaves?
talking about
No.
talking about dogs.
Puppies.
I
And
met this guy the other
so,
day.
while you're left with this loss, and something that we have all certainly gone through, maybe remember that you were Moose's whole world, right? His whole life. And if that lifetime was filled with love, then you've done your job.
Yep.
And that's all we can ask for. But Dan, we love you, and take care of yourself. We know you're hurting right now, and we just want you to be well.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about some things in the news, but we're going to skip over this Donald Trump stuff because Izzy doesn't want to talk about that. And park the car in the garage, honey. What was it Mama said?
Leave the truck.
I'm
Leave the truck in
scared
park.
to answer any of those
I can't drive that
questions.
truck today.
Well, you don't have to. I have one Donald Trump story
know
that
what?
I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
have a good laugh at.
Let's have fun
I'm
with
here
Donald
now,
Trump.
so if
Yeah,
you're
back-
uncomfortable,
Let's do
I
it.
can,
Let's have fun with Donald.
So initially, I wanted to talk about the Mueller thing. But that's a longer story for another day, I think. But I want to talk about my absolute favorite story in the news this week. And this all comes thanks to graphic designer Charles Lizotte.
Oh, is this the seal?
And an inept staffer at Turning Point USA. Now, Turning Point is an activist group for young right-wingers, and Trump was giving a speech at their Teen Student Action Summit, where behind him appeared the Great Seal of the President of the United States. Except it wasn't. Have a look. Now, compare that with the actual presidential seal, and you'll see several hilarious differences.
What is this game? Spot the
Spot
differences?
the difference, yeah. So, where e pluribus unum should be, and that's Latin for out of many one, which is, of course, a much better national motto than In God We Trust. Instead, we see in Spanish, 45 is a puppet. The eagle has been changed. Its wing structure and two heads mimicking the Russian coat of arms, complete with hammer and sickle on its chest. And on the left, where there should be an olive branch with 13 olives, we have a claw full of cash. And on the right, instead of 13 arrows, there's 13 golf clubs. Now, Lizotte said he made the image after the 2016 election, just trying to have a little fun. But he says his website was down for like the last 2 years. So the person who found this image either found it then and like saved it for maybe a future opportunity, or that somebody really would have had to search to find this thing because his website was shut down.
Wow.
But you'll be happy to know capitalism is alive and well. He did reopen his website to sell all sorts of merch in the wake of this new...
Cash in, buddy.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's fun. That's something I would do, though, when I see something I really think is hilarious. I take a screenshot of it and save it for future reference.
Right, yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, though.
So funny.
That's cool.
I mean, mockery is a cornerstone of American democracy.
Especially when it's deserved.
Right. Well, speaking of the American dream.
Oh, my.
The American dream is alive and well. In Canada. In Reasons to Move to Canada Tonight, in 1996, Ontario made legal the right for women to go topless in public.
Wow.
Well, that's reason enough, I'd say. But now, a Canadian water park has changed its dress code after a human rights complaint was filed against it in 2017.
Can men go bottomless now?
Well, previously, its dress code required women to cover their breasts, but now, says, quote, bathers of all genders are required to wear an appropriate swimsuit bottom. Oh, Canada.
I really wanted to see all of the bottoms, though.
Me too.
There you go. Got the bell in. The company operates 2 water parks in Canada, and the new rules apply to both. Though a spokesperson told Radio Canada that while women now have the right to go topless at the parks, very few have chosen to do so.
That's because people are cruel.
Right. People are assholes.
Uh-huh.
Come on, Canada. You're the last great hope for the world.
You know what they need is the women should just go topless, and there should be some employee that just walks around and says, I'm sorry, every time some other asshole says something degrading to a woman.
Oh, my God.
Just saying.
But listen, like, seriously, it is ridiculous that we have these stupid rules about...
Well, let me ask you, because you have a sordid history with water parks.
I do.
How would you feel if you were working a water park?
That's funny,
and then
because
you had to then change the policies and then deal with the because you know how prudish people can be.
I think there's a cultural difference, though, between the U.S. and Canada.
Well, of course
a slight cultural difference, right? Where
But
here,
you were working at a water park where it was worldwide tourism trap, so...
Oh, my God. The people that came to our water parks, these were people that got down on their knees and prayed to Jesus because some woman in front of them at the slide, because you have to get down on your hands and knees before you go down the slide or certain slides, right?
You got to crouch down and squat.
And they get down, crouch down, squat, and they're from Brazil.
Oh, Lord.
And so they got the thong.
Oh, God.
And so when they crouch down and squat, you hear,
No, and then they ended up at guest services bitching at me because how dare you let that into this? This is a family environment. How dare? Oh, my God. Again, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
This whole sex is just this taboo thing that we need to bury kids' heads in the sand because how will we know how to explain to them what they, come on.
Kids get way more than adults do after
That's all I'm saying. Would you go topless at a water park?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck anymore.
I go topless all the time.
I'm at that point where I'm like,
yeah,
whatever.
Fuck
if it was legal and I wasn't going to go to jail, I don't care what anybody else has to say.
Yeah.
Free world.
Every time I mow the yard, I think to myself, God damn, I miss that male privilege.
Right?
Uh-huh. When I was a guy and didn't have tiny tits.
Well, I remember when I
didn't have to cover up.
I was in 3rd grade, and I played soccer with the boys during recess.
Mm-hmm.
There was a group of boys that always played, and I was the only girl. And they would take their shirts
skins,
off.
Yeah.
And then this one teacher made a big deal about it because I was just being a smartass. I was like, I would take my shirt off, and I really didn't. I was
right.
a 9-year-old
being a pain in the
trouble.
ass, right?
And so from that day forward, the boys weren't allowed to take their shirts off during soccer. And they hated me. They hated me. But it was just one of those things. I didn't expect to cause a big kerfluffle, but apparently.
You were a feminist activist before you knew it.
Before I knew it. It's funny. I'll never forget that. It was hilarious.
There's another story I want to talk about, and this one is this one's not so great. So, listen. We were talking about sort of the experience of trans people in America, and this is a story of a young trans person whose mother is a shitbag. Okay. ELK, as she is identified in court documents, ELK was emancipated in 2015 at age 15. Okay. So emancipation terminates parental rights.
Per her request or per her parents?
Per her request.
Okay. I just get the dynamic of the story.
So this declared her as a juvenile, an adult capable of making legally binding decisions on her own, right? Well, apparently her home life was really bad. Theme of the night, right? We started out the show talking about a rough home life. ELK describes her parents as verbally and physically abusive. She moved out, put herself through high school, handled her own finances, and started gender transition with support of the school, caseworkers, and doctors. The mother tried to intervene, and healthcare providers stopped her because she no longer had parental rights. She tried to access ELK school records, but the school refused because she no longer had parental rights.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother sued her, saying that she still had rights as a parent to make medical decisions for her daughter and did not approve of the decision to start transition.
Now I'm getting super hot.
Take it off.
Take it off.
I'm getting mad. Here we go.
The mother lost in district court because ELK at that point was over the age of 18.
Right.
It didn't matter.
You
she had finished high school.
Idiot. Just drop it already.
And she was emancipated.
Right.
So the mother filed an appeal. The 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals upheld the lower court's ruling because, again, she was an adult by this point and she was emancipated. Attorney for the conservative Thomas More Society, Eric Cardall, said, quote, "Unbelievably, Minnesota statutes authorize a county to deem a minor emancipated to receive welfare payments, to live on their own, and allow medical providers to void parental input if it determines the minor is living apart from the parents and is managing his or her own personal financial affairs. Yes, Eric, that's what emancipation means. This is a guy who thinks it's unbelievable that a state could deem a minor legally responsible for themselves.
When they've proven that they can be responsible for themselves.
And when their home life warrants
right.
their need to get out of it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. So
Eric said, this attorney, this is an unacceptable situation for any parent, and a serious violation of parental and due process rights.
No.
Right. Because
the case was heard. The court made a decision. Now shut the fuck up and get the fuck out.
Oh, again, like
this is not difficult.
This is the argument that parents own their children.
Yeah.
Okay?
No. That's bullshit.
That kids should be forced to live in these abusive homes because as a parent, you have ownership rights. That's what he's saying. He's saying ownership rights of your children. Got it, Eric. 10-4. So what's a mother who doesn't want her kid to be trans to do? She filed a petition for cert with the fucking Supreme Court of the United States of fucking America. That's what she did.
Is she really this stupid that she thinks,
Well, now hold on, because listen.
Oh my God.
The Supreme Court won't decide whether or not to grant cert in this case until the fall when they return from summer recess. But they should absolutely deny cert. I would be very, very surprised if they take up this case.
Wow.
For a few reasons. For the ones that we've already mentioned. Again, the emancipation.
What reasons wouldn't surprise you?
Well, she's not suing the daughter this time.
Oh, she's going after the state.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's going after St. Louis County, the medical providers, and the St. Louis County School
And
District,
for what?
all who supported this child during the transition.
Like for what? For financial gain?
Right.
So she can be a shitty parent and
make money off
and
of
then
it.
make money off of it because she's a shitty parent and her child was able to find help to get out of the situation.
Yep.
Fucking cunt.
Talk about a cock blocker.
I am like I hate these stories.
Mm-hmm.
People should have never been allowed to have children.
Okay. That's what I said.
Again, right, if these agencies were protecting this student, this child,
Right.
after emancipation, then the mother has no legal right.
Exactly.
So I think the thing that infuriated...
The logical thing to do is say case denied, goodbye.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and they may very well.
Just the fact that she tried it.
It's infuriating.
It's just, absurd.
She's scum of the earth. That's what she is.
Like, I understand being a parent. We're parents.
Yeah.
I understand being concerned for your children.
Yeah.
And I understand
Would you chip your dog?
I mean,
your child like a dog?
No.
Okay.
I can empathize. I can empathize with a parent who feels like their kid is gone off the rails and is concerned for that. Like, if there is a legitimate concern for their well-being or
but it's not
whatever,
like this girl was
I could
out,
understand that.
Making meth and doing drugs and like all she was doing was trying to be her authentic self.
Yeah.
It's not like she was running in bad circles and making bad choices.
I don't disagree.
I can't. Oh.
I think the worstest thing is growing up gay is to have your mom go against you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe your dad, you can understand because,
Men,
right?
yeah.
Men are stressful. They work hard, long hours. We get it. Okay, you have a day pass.
They've been groomed to be
we talked about
right.
all that.
You're a man, but for our maternal women to be on that same page, it's a little, I don't know.
This is what pissed me off the most about the story. ELK describes a home life ripe with abuse. Meanwhile, lawyers for the mother said that she, quote, retained her unconditional love for her daughter. I swear to Satan, you people don't understand what unconditional means.
Right? Yes.
That means no conditions. That means my kid is trans. I love him. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
No conditions. I love you no matter what.
Right.
That's what unconditional love means.
Yeah. And you don't get to say, I love you, I just don't like what you're doing.
Right.
You don't get to say that because it's not what they're doing, it's who they are. So if you love them for who they are, you love them for who they are. And you can't
There are things my kids could do that would disappoint me. Sure.
enrage me. Absolutely.
Yep. But I wouldn't handle it like this.
No.
That's for fuck sure.
Fucking
Jesus.
idiotic. Like, she's
That's
just
a
making a fool of
That's a
herself.
publicity stunt.
She's trying to cash in, I think.
I think
that's what this is
she's
all
seeing
about.
dollar signs, and she's
Well, to the lady we're talking about, we'll see you on American Greed.
yeah, no kidding. Ugh,
Yeah.
it's just so stupid.
Anyway, I don't want to end it on a low note.
I know, but you just got me. I feel so bad.
Right?
That's just like
This is the world we're trying to change.
Yes.
right.
Thank you. This is why we need to create programs and safe places for these folks, these kids
Children.
out
Yeah.
on the street, trying to escape
A bad situation.
a bad situation and build themselves
Just trying to
into
find
something
their way
positive.
to a real legitimate home. You know.
Yes,
You know.
you've lived that, and you're on the other side of it now. And
there's days that I'm not even gonna lie. There's days that I wish I can push further and have more in my life. But then after, like, I realize, I didn't have nothing compared to now. Like, this is a blessing, because I really didn't have anything, nothing at all, not even a guidance. I had a couple of family members that were there for me. When no one's looking, I'm gonna help you out because I don't like the way you treat you. Thanks to those, those family members really were there for me. I love them to death unconditionally, and but shouldn't have had to be that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I like to do the things that I guess that's one of the reasons why I wish I could, do the things that I'm doing. And, I wish I could have the money now and kind of like help these kids now because, I know what it is to be a young kid at the LGBT community running the streets and trying to find your way to a home or make your own home. It's almost impossible. You feel like Christopher Columbus. You have to really travel and do a lot of things. You have to go to war and scary,
Yeah.
Scary.
That's what I'm saying. So my takeaway here is these experiences that we've lived, these experiences that these tortured life experiences, as Becca often says, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't all the things that happened to me along the way.
Right.
And the question is, what do we do with that? With all of that knowledge, with all of those feelings and emotions and experiences, knowing what it feels like to be in a particular position, in a particular situation, how are we making that better for the next generation?
Well, one of the things for me is I believe in this one saying my friend Anthony LaBeija told me. He said, your storm is your rainbow. And, I started realizing that all the stuff, this horrible stuff that I went through, that I made it through and I survived and I passed it or whatever, and these ugly experiences made me who I am today. And they made me the strong person that I am now. They made me Izzi Starz. And before I used to really be upset and be like, oh, why is this happening to me? Now it's like I'm glad that I went through all of this stuff because I'm really happy with the outcome and everything because I really thought I wasn't going to make it.
You had a cable going bad?
Something.
Maybe it's just too hot because
Yes.
it's been a really hot show.
Well, that's, I think, as good a place to end it as any. thank you again for driving all the way up here.
No problem.
I know it's a long
had to
drive.
come in. I was like, this is going to be so cool.
And you had the traffic.
And the cops.
The cops.
Those cops. It's the end of the quarter. So, these cops
they're
are
trying
really...
to make their quotas.
Oh, yes. They're trying
yeah.
to make their coins right now. And they were like, look at this guy with the blonde hair, the gold leopard. Oh, he got money. Let's go get him. That's what was happening. That's what I was afraid of. I was like, oh, Lord.
You gotta keep the leopard stuff in the trunk while you're driving.
Know, right? It's that, sometimes Josie and the Pussycats, she just wants to come out. She doesn't want to stay in the trunk all the time.
That's true.
But yeah, I really appreciate you guys letting me express myself and having me on the show.
Yeah.
And supporting my music. It was a blessing. I really had a good time, you guys.
Yeah, we love your stuff.
Thank you. I love you guys.
Definitely
too.
stay in touch.
Definitely, I will.
I don't have anything to announce. I don't have anything on the calendar.
No,
I
this
don't
is like the last scheduled thing we had.
Yes.
So, wink, wink. We're so bad.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
Uh-oh.
Okay, houseofstars.com.
Right.
STARZ, houseofstars.com, if you want to learn more about Izzy and all of the things that Izzy's working on and the projects that are coming up and find all of the music. That's the place to go for that. I want to talk next time about the Mueller interview stuff and get into that a little bit more. So maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Until next week, we love you, and we'll see you. You've been listening to SarahTalk.
SarahTalk is made possible by listener support. Visit patreon.com/SarahTalk to become a patron and help keep this program going. Contact Sarah and Company by email at producer@sarahtalk.com or call 224-40-SARAH. That's 224-407-2724. And follow us on social media, facebook.com/SarahTalkRadio and on Twitter @SarahTalkRadio. SarahTalk is a production of Sarah Austin Media.